Hello there! I just got around to watching the Expendables 4, and do you need me to review it to tell you what it's like? If you've seen any of the other Expendables films, 4 is a lot like the other 3. If you like the other 3, maybe give it a go. But like the other Expendables films, it kind of lacks the depth of more philosophical efforts, like Commando or Cobra. There was, however, a part at the end that really annoyed me. The context is that the Expendables are on the trail of a mysterious bad guy. And this bad guy is trying to start a war between the USA and Russia for their own profit, and they're going to do this by getting a ship that looks like an aircraft carrier, putting a thermonuclear device in it on a timer, starting the engines and pointing it at Vladivostok. The bomb apparently cannot be moved or disarmed because it's protected by mercury switches, and we're told this by the Expendables technical expert, Randy Couture. Now, why do mercury tilt switches come up so often? If you don't know, a mercury tilt switch is a glass tube that contains 2 electrodes and a blob of liquid mercury. The idea is that if it's jostled or shaken, the switch will get tilted and the mercury will contact the electrodes, finishing a circuit. So, in essence, they can't move the bomb. But Jason Statham, bless him, has a plan. He sends the other Expendables away on a boat, drops anchor, and does a handbrake turn in an aircraft carrier before pointing the carrier away from Russian waters, powering up the engines, and he intends on sacrificing himself. And I watched that and thought, what happened to the mercury tilt switches? Look at the angle that aircraft carrier has reached. The movie just seems to have forgotten about its own plot points. But it's an Expendables film, what do you expect? For me, there are goods and bads to the series. The series contains many action stars of the 80s and 90s being wheeled out to make in-jokes and re-deliver lines from previous films. It seems to be getting rated lower than previous entries by the public. Sly Stallone is barely in it. A lot of people dislike the CGI in the film, or that Megan Fox was in it. I'm maybe kindly disposed to it because I kind of like Jason Statham. The plot twist for me was sadly very predictable, and going back and watching The Expendables 1 makes 4 look very weak in comparison. I think sadly The Expendables 4 is the worst one of the lot. If I were them, I wouldn't bother with trying clever surprises and twists. The Expendables was never really about the subtlety. There's also the strength of the bad guys, or the marked lack of it. The main bad guy is hidden for most of the film, and therefore gets no build-up, leaving this guy to carry it pretty much on his own, and he didn't manage it for me. Not like The Expendables 1, where you had Gary Daniels, Eric Roberts and Stone Cold Steve Austin. That's where 4 failed for me. Not building up the heat on the bad guys sufficiently. They also underused World's Strongest Man Eddie Hall for me, who could have been better used than he was. He could have made an interesting odd job-like character, but he was kind of wasted, and I think the first film is the one they need to go back to if they want the series to thrive. That and dropping the in-jokes and the 4th wall breaks because it's cheesy as hell in places. It's not going to win any Oscars, and it wasn't ever trying to. It knows what it is. And the film hasn't got anything to say about politics. It has no interest in being propaganda, it won't try to tell you who to vote for, and it's a dinosaur in terms of modern Hollywood, because it tries to do something so old-fashioned, by the standards of modern Hollywood, it's actually kind of sweet. It tries to do something that most of Hollywood left far behind in the rearview mirror at least a decade ago. It tries to entertain the audience.
Fuck. Jesus.
I can feel your anger.
What about the other Jedi spread across the galaxy?